Alright, so it's hashtag shop made tools. And I have done a video on shop made tools, but I left several items out of that video because you just take them for granted after a while. And I also want to demonstrate, or I also want to show some bearings for purposes of inspection. I'm told not to put grease on these bearings inside this casing, and the way they're behaving, I think they would be okay with grease, but with oil only, I think they're a little loose. I may need to order a couple more. So let's get that out of the way first. Okay, now that it comes time to actually look at these closely, I'm thinking that they're probably okay. So let's spin them in this configuration. Let's turn them over. And then this is the configuration they will be in. So okay, I'm thinking I answered my own question there. Thinking that'll be fine. I was, when it was first expressed to me that it would need oil, let's take a look at the housing here. My first thoughts was maybe this case has this seal here, O-ring on OD and an ID seal, and I think with a half pint of oil in there in this configuration, and this is the way it would be mounting, and that would give it a continuous bath of oil. It would be, oil would probably be at this level even, and it would continually be changing the oil out. And maybe that's why we have these plugs, hither and thither and thither. And it is also suggested that when my machine is up and going, I can sharpen this MT5 dead center. I guess it's a live center once it's mounted, but I may be able to grind that myself. And that certainly, that idea certainly appeals to me. So what do you guys think about, once this is all together, filling this case up with oil to, a half inch even, would keep the oil on those bearings all the time. I did pull the pulley, the bearing rides in this pulley, and then the center rides on that bearing ID. So got that cleaned up. Okay, let's go talk about shop made tools. So early in my lathe ownership, I probably did some of, you know, my most, you know, pretty cool stuff. Okay, let me cut you off here and handhold for a minute. Okay, hashtag homemade shop-made tools. So this is one of the first things I made, and that is holding my carriage down to the ways. And I have set screws with 2 ball bearings laterally, and I have 4 ball bearings underneath with 3 jack screws. And sometimes sometimes the job requires that you just need a little more light, and so you have to have a shop-made lamp. And let's let me find the switch here. Shop-made tools. I think it qualifies. Okay, next on my list, I was watching Adrian at Ade's workshop, and he had kind of a little rush job he was doing at home for work, and he needed to thread a little aluminum cup or something, and he had a hand crank, and so shop-made hand crank. So let's take this off. There's an expanding mandrel that holds it in the spindle, and this started off life as a DP weight for like weightlifters. It's 2.2 pounds, 1 kilo. I went online and downloaded a 360-degree protractor and put some spray adhesive. I made a brass bush. I had this piece of material from a toolbox that I inherited, and we made the handle, and works very good. And then we got this thing, the expanding mandrel. So there's a piece of brass in there that's tapered, and that is sucked down and spreads these leaves and locks it into the spindle. Okay, when this lathe came from the factory, the carriage lock is a set screw right here that you drive down into your ways, and that's how they wanted you to lock your carriage. I knew better than that. I didn't know about using your half nut, but I went ahead and made, and this is the second version of shop-made carriage lock. And it gives about a half a turn and releases. I got a I got a groove cut into here so that it'll clear my gib adjusting nuts. So shop made carriage lock. Okay. Everybody has to have a drift, a thumper. So we have shop made thumper, some kind of plastic made out of copper. Go either way, no fill inside of it, no shot or anything like that. And then I have 19 plates of alternating aluminum and brass with some 12L14 and some copper, capped off with brass, and it'll move that item that's a little heavier. Okay, I bought one of these at Little Machine Shop, and we all recognize what that is, but it does not work on my hex dies. So we made one, even though it's round, the hex dies work fine in it. I got 3 set screws, and I can do the regular dies in the back. And I also made the Morris taper number 2 with I can only make so long of a taper on this machine, so I have to put extensions on it so that I can drive them out of the tailstock. So there's shop made tool. That was my 3rd Morris taper. This is my 1st Morris taper. It's got a center drill in it. And like I say, it's short, it's made of aluminum, and it has an extension, an ejection pin. And then here is my next MT2 taper, which was originally, it was originally going to be something, and I over-drilled the hole, overbored the hole, so I put a bush in it, and now it is my designated 1/4-20 tap holder. And now I have my my Jacobs A080 number OB 0B, and I didn't make that, but I made, I guess, the arbor. And this thing is so small, the tap wrench or the key, they just give you that little piece. So they probably had a Tommy bar in there, but that's, compared to, my hand, that's a very small Jacobs chuck. This really isn't shop made because I bought these. I just want to show that they're available. They're just MT2 blanks, machinable MT2. And I have a spotting drill set up in that one. I have another one I have set up with a, I forget what size drill that is. It's the top drill for 256 threads. Okay, hashtag shop made tools. Now we have a little tap driver designated for 356, and managed to make a square hole, and that's just no big deal. Tap followers on a very small lathe have to be very small. So this would be my first tap follower, made out of steel. And this is my second attempt, made out of brass. Both of them a little sticky. Shop made tools. Hashtag. Okay, now we have a tool post drill. And this one seems to be the right height at the with that battery on there. You don't need much travel. That's about probably twice or 4 times what I would need. Okay, so then we have tool post Might as well put it on here. We have designated Allen wrench, shop made, and we have tool post Dremel. Now, this is the first generation, and this was just something like piece of steel I got out, piece of aluminum I got out of a dumpster. This one is you know, more of a finished item. You know, and basically I might have done a little milling with the lathe and a little sanding on the belt sander. But this was just basically a piece of scrap found in a dumpster. You know, I put a piece there. You know, all these drilling in cavities were already there. So I think what I was getting ready to say is this is the first generation, and as in my carriage lock, you're not seeing the first one that I made. And it was, you know, I was just learning. So the second one I made was better, which seems to be, you know, just a natural progression. That is for shop made, I'm sorry, that is for hashtag shop made tools. And last, but maybe not least, now I have one more plumb bob, but there it is. This one was a challenge for me because I have a steel bottom section and a brass top section with a threaded cap. And to make all those line up was my challenge. And then we got a little more practical plumb bob. I kind of went plumb bob. I went plumb bob. And then we have this one, which is Comparison. If I use a lighter, does that make me a bad person? But there it is. Okay. We're about at the end of what I can recollect. Nope, there's another thing. Here's a dedicated Torx wrench, and that was for my original carriage lock. And that was, you know. And then there's one more thing down here. And this is the nut, the screw that used to hold on my chip guard. And it was, you know, easy to get on and off. Went from 4 screws to 2 screws to hold all that together. So I don't know if there's other stuff. You know, there is this cam that I made. I don't know if that's going to focus or not. Well, who knows what that really is. Did I make that? And then there's this pulley on an eccentric. It's a do nothing, as it does nothing. Just experimenting. Okay, that's all I'm going to look for. How many other YouTubers do you know that uses bamboo coffee filters for polishing? Nope, there's one other shop-made item I have here. There's probably more than one, but... And that is my third hand. And it is on a spinning knob on the end, so you can manipulate it easily. You can do high fives, you can do waves. That's about all it does. So long. And last but not least, the Morse taper number 2 and 3 tool holder, conveniently located above the lathe bench. Okay, that's about it. I'm dying to do something on the lathe. I'll probably set up and start making another batch of Woody's nuts. And if you're new to the channel, you don't know what Woody's nuts are. It's these little nuts that I'm making for his clocks. And it is just under, we were making 1/2 inch, I guess it would be 7/8 hex with a 256 thread. So just to get the lathe turning again, because this cutter grinder is consuming all my time. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing. It's free. Okay, you know, there's see you later. Oh dear. Thank you to all you guys leaving the comments. I appreciate it.